Brilliance Audio presents Fake Truth by Lee Goldberg, performed by Adam Werner. It had been 4 days since author Ian Ludlow and his research assistant, Margo French, saved the lives of the presidents of the United States and France, and 4 hours since they'd left the Oval Office, where the leader of the free world privately expressed his gratitude for their heroic actions. Nobody would ever know what Ian and Margo had done, and Ian was fine with that. In fact, he was still having a hard time believing any of it had actually happened. It was the kind of outrageous adventure that Clint Straker, the freelance super spy in his best-selling series of novels, had every day. But not Ian. He didn't have the body or the training for it. He was a flabby Californian in his 30s who had learned everything he knew about covert spying from James Bond, Jason Bourne, and Austin Powers. And yet here they were, riding with CIA Director Michael Healy and his 2 bodyguards in a bulletproof black Suburban on a country road through a forest in the hills outside Syria, Virginia. The road ended at a remote log cabin, where another black Suburban was parked out front. "What is this place?" Ian asked. "A CIA safe house," Healy said. He was a clean-cut man in his 50s who appeared so wholesome that Ian was sure he could pass as a high school teacher, a Mormon missionary, or the reliable love interest in one of those Hallmark Channel movies. "In Syria," Ian said, sounding skeptical. "Virginia," Healy said. "Still, you have to appreciate the irony." "I don't see it," Healy said. Ian did, and he wished he could use it in a novel. But when he agreed 4 hours earlier in the Oval Office to share his future plot ideas with the CIA, just in case some of them might come true again, as they already had twice, in a big way, the arrangement came with the promise not to reveal any government secrets he might learn. "What if the safe house was in Moscow, Maryland, or Lebanon, Pennsylvania?" Ian asked. "Would you see it then?" Healy straightened up. "How did you know we have safe houses there?" "I didn't." Margo laughed. "It's nice to know that there's someone in the CIA besides me who has a sense of humor." She was in her 20s, naturally slim, with short crow-black hair that looked like she'd angrily trimmed it herself with a serrated bread knife, which Ian thought was a real possibility. He had also frequently thought about sleeping with her, but that was definitely an impossibility, since she was gay. When Ian met Margo a little over 2 years ago, he was on a promotional tour for his latest Straker novel, and she was the professional dog walker and aspiring folk singer his publisher had hired to drive him to book signings around Seattle. He just learned in the past few days that, in the years since then, she'd been secretly recruited by the CIA and was using her job as his researcher as a cover. It was a ridiculous plot twist that could have come right out of one of his thrillers. "It's no joke," Healy said. "If some idiot intentionally located safe houses in places that share the names of enemy states and cities, then it's a pattern that can be discovered by our adversaries and puts the assets we are protecting in mortal danger. Every one of those safe houses has to be shut down. Ian, you've proved your value to us once again. We need the perspective of someone outside looking in." Ian wasn't sure he wanted to be that guy. It was too dangerous. The driver parked behind the other Suburban. The 2 bodyguards got out first to sniff the air for terrorists, snipers, and other potential dangers. And then once they were satisfied it was safe, they opened the back doors for Healy, Ian, and Margo. The 3 of them were met on the front porch by 2 CIA agents wearing stiff new John Deere baseball caps, aviator shades, and untucked, loose-fitting Carhartt plaid work shirts over faded blue jeans, outfits that Ian figured were supposed to make them blend in with the locals. If that was the goal, then the agents probably should have parked a mud-spattered Ford F-150 pickup in front of the cabin, instead of a spotless black Suburban with windows tinted darker than tar paper. "She's inside and the cabin has been swept for listening devices," one of the agents said. "It's all clear." Healy led Ian and Margo into the cabin, where Wang Mei sat, in a peasant blouse and blue jeans, on a log couch with leather-upholstered cushions. It wasn't exactly the appropriate wardrobe or setting for the beautiful young daughter of an imprisoned billionaire and one of the most famous actresses in China. She held a mason jar of iced tea in her hand. Of course, the glasses were mason jars, Ian thought.